What's up, friends, family, followers, all you guys who are tuning in? Today, I wanted to talk about why I closed my storefront shop. I was gonna write like little bullet notes and try and explain in detail, but I figured just talking is gonna just be the best. That way, I'm not like following a script or whatever. So, I first wanted to start off by saying that having a shop was super, super cool. But on the other hand, I can't express to you the amount of excitement that I have to not have the shop. So the whole reason the shop even got started basically was I had wanted to open up a shop in town. That was something that I've always kind of thought would be really cool. And I had actually been like window shopping around town and trying to find places and something that was reasonable. Basically, the real reason that I had to like jump off and actually start having a shop is some of you guys know my brother passed away, and he was also a leather worker in Norco, but he did a lot more repairs and stuff like that. So I knew that with him being gone that I was gonna have to do a whole lot more repairs, just because there's nobody to do them anymore. There is a couple guys in town that do repairs, but basically once my brother was gone, everybody dispersed to everybody just in the Southern California area. Like we have people all the way from San Diego, LA, Orange County, Inland Empire, as far out as like Yucaipa. We get people sometimes who are like out of state or super out in the middle of nowhere that they actually ship saddles to us. So with that being said, I didn't like take over his customers, but I knew that there was going to be an influx of customers because my brother was very well known in Southern California for being the repair guy. He also made custom stuff too, but his reputation was being a very handy repairman and somebody who can come up with very creative solutions to leather problems. Now, this is where it starts getting complicated because as a leather crafter, we're so few and far in between. It's such a random trade to where like there's just not, number one, there's just not a lot of us, and then two, like when it comes to repair work, anybody who can make custom goods can basically do any kind of repairs. Like a repair is very easy to where you kind of dissect it and then recreate it and then put it back on. So with all that being said, that's why I jumped off and decided to open up a shop, because I knew I wasn't going to have space for all the saddles and stuff that were coming in, as well as like I'd already been eyeballing space for my own shop. So it kind of just all happened at once. So I jumped in feet first, and mind you, this is like right at the beginning of the pandy, the Corona pandy. So it started out perfectly fine. Honestly, it was just a huge influx of work. And that's ultimately the real reason why I have decided to close my shop down, is that it's like too much work. So the biggest thing that plays into it is just the fact that when you open up a shop, you basically open yourself up to the public. You know, people can just walk in without appointments. You just put yourself out there. So at the beginning of opening the shop, I had my custom business, which is my bread and butter, my meat and potatoes, what A, I love doing the most, B, which I can make the most money at, C, there's the most upward growth potential. When it comes to the custom work, it's easy. The better you get, the more people are going to want to order from you. The more people who want to order from you, the more you can charge, the longer you can make your wait list. There's a clear path for growth when you build your name in the custom world. And when I had opened my shop, the main thing that I didn't really foresee was there's not that much growth for being the local like leather guy per se. When you get people who are coming in and need you to repair a purse strap, or people who need saddle repairs and things like that. So what started out as my one custom leather goods business, which is, like I said, my meat and potatoes, my main focus, has now become not only a major saddle repair business, where we're doing like new fleece, new seats, like full saddle overhaul, like rigging repair, like full ass major saddle jobs. And then third, we have what I like to call the quote unquote local leather guy business, where it's the I need my purse strap fixed. Can you make me a cheap knife sheath? Can you relace a leather baseball glove? People coming in asking if I do reupholstery, or, people coming in and asking to remove stain from purses, and like a bunch of these really obscure jobs where if you have a strong knowledge of leatherworking in general, you can do almost anything. When it comes to this like local leather guy thing, I've had crazy requests of like people asking me to do zippers, like add zippers on cowboy boots, where it's like, I technically can do this, but I don't think you understand the amount of time and the extent of the work that it's required to do this job and do it well and clean and tidy. And I ended up finding myself turning away so many of these quote unquote local leather guy jobs, and it weighs on me very strange, where you have somebody coming in who wants your services, but you have to literally just you basically have to go, I know how to do it, but like unless you're willing to pay this astronomical amount, I can't help you. As reasonable as that might sound to somebody who's here watching this video, because you obviously care enough about either leather or me to kind of understand that concept, there is a disproportionate amount of people that do not understand this concept, and they take off so upset. Like I once had this lady who, I did this really big saddle job. It was like $800. We did fleece, we did seat, we like restained the whole thing. I think we might even have made her fenders. Like we overhauled the crap out of the saddle, and she had requested exactly what I said, adding zippers to these boots that should not have had zippers on them, because they weren't designed like that in the first place. Plus you have lining, and it's a whole complex thing. And I told her, I was like, I know physically how to do the job that you're requesting, but like what you don't understand is that to add in, personally for me, to add in a pair of zippers to some boots is going to cost you probably like, realistically, like $150, $200, maybe even more, to do all the intricate works of precisely cutting that slice down the boot. And then now I have 5 different layers of boot that I need to like fold a piece of leather over and create a nice seam. And then I have to like, there's just so much that goes into it that, to be honest, I would have to just decline, because I don't feel the quality of the work that I'm going to be able to do at like $250 to your, $80 pair of boots. Like I don't want that responsibility too, because you got to think, if I mess your boots up, there's no do-overs. Like your boots are either going to turn out horrible, or I'm going to just mess them up entirely. And this lady, she was very thrilled and very happy with the saddle work that I had done for her, but because I had to decline this work, she left with a super horrible taste in her mouth. And I would not be surprised if she left thinking that I was just some kind of jerk, because I declined to do work for her. And that's the hardest part, is that like, if you know how to do something and you decline the work, people leave incredibly upset. There's this thing that happens when you have the knowledge of doing something, that people feel that you're obligated to help them, which is like the core of why I shut my shop down. Because although I might have the knowledge to do this, that is not what my business is. What my business is making extremely cool, custom, one-of-a-kind pieces. Like just because I know how to relace a leather baseball glove, that like doesn't mean that I have to. You know what I'm saying? It's like going to a fast food restaurant and then getting upset that they don't cater parties, where it's like, no, you go there and you operate the way that the business operates. You don't go in and tell the business how to operate. So to tie this all back together, it really boils down to the fact that I was basically running 3 businesses at once: my custom business, the major saddle repair business, and the quote-unquote local leather guy business, where people come in and just want something made out of leather, cheap, fast. However, so with that being said, my meat and potatoes of my business is my custom work, which most of the time I'm booked out 2 months to 3 months in advance, where you pay me a deposit and I don't touch your job for another 3 months. Then when it comes to the custom saddle jobs, so normally what I've found through all my years of being in a saddle shop, people usually only want to drop their saddles off for about 2 to 3 weeks. So I want you to keep in mind that while I have a 2-3 month wait list going on my custom orders, I get these saddle jobs in. Mind you, the saddle jobs are random. I might have one day where one person brings me like 3 saddles, and they bring me 5 days of work in 3 saddles, and they want it back in 3 weeks. So I have to somehow figure out how to squeeze in an extra 3, 4, 5 days out of 2 or 3 weeks, which, if you put the numbers into it, it's like trying to fit 3, 4, 5 days into 15 days. Like, that is not something that just happens without pushing your custom list and neglecting your core set of customers. And basically that's what it boils down to. I even throw the expedited pricing card on people, where they go, if this is an emergency, I'll do it, but it's going to cost you twice as much. And the problem is people who are usually in a pinch that bad are usually willing to pay twice as much. I know at this point I am just kind of going off, so I want to just bundle this up so it's a little more concise, to where basically what's happening is that my main business, which is my custom business that I've been at now for over 4 years, is my main priority when it comes to the progression of my career and my life. And with facilitating the insane jumbo saddle jobs as well as the random off the street people, I am then neglecting my main core set of customers. And I basically just don't want to do that anymore. As good as the money was for doing insane saddle jobs, and trust me, it's hard to turn down double pay on 4 hours worth of work. I'm getting half a day's worth of work, and I'm getting paid an entire day's worth of work for it. So as difficult as that is to cut off, it's going to be the best thing for my business long term. So kind of with all that being said, there is a couple more factors that I want to just add in there. My first biggest one is the fact that I just flat out don't really enjoy doing repairs at all. Like, the whole reason I started doing leather work, well, I started in my brother's shop, but the whole reason I started my own business was to do custom leather work, because I fell in love with the art of doing leather work, the fancy toolings, the craftsmanship, the more high-end stuff is just much more interesting to me. So the less I focus on that, the less I actually have a passion for what I do. And then I also wanted to just be able to move around and be mobile. One of my biggest dreams in life, and one of my brother's biggest dreams in life, was to be able to move away from Southern California. And I watched him grow his business for like over 10 years. And he was always tied down to being the local repairman, and he could never leave too far because all of his customers and his whole business was based in being local. So when I started my business, like, the last thing I wanted to do was to be tied down to being the quote-unquote local guy. Even with my extreme days where a lot of the local work is really heavy, I still operate about 3/4 of the way online. Because like I said, that's where most of my bread and butter is, my custom work. So bringing my shop back home really allows me to finally focus on basically achieving that dream. And next year I plan on moving away from here, and I knew I wanted to leave, so another reason why I shut my shop down was to bring my operation back home and focus it for my online business. That way I'd have a good gauge, because it would be incredibly difficult to keep the shop open all the way till it was time to move and go out of state. I wanted to know what it would feel like to be back at home and operating on that level versus having the anchor of the extra money that's going to come in with being the local guy. And like it is hard, because ever since I started my business, I always kind of dreamed of opening up my own shop, but it's like you don't know what it's going to be like until you actually do it. And I actually did it and then realized that it wasn't quite all that it was cracking up to be. I also had this realization where I've been doing this completely full time, no other jobs, for 4 years now. And every year I have made substantial leaps and bounds in the quality of my work, until it was dawning on me, and I was like, I haven't really gotten better in a long time. Let me evaluate why I haven't gotten better in a long time. And it's because I haven't been able to focus on actually improving my skill beyond where I was at, because all my extra time and energy and effort is now put into this hamster wheel that is the shop. Of I have to do the extra work to help keep this place open and take all these oddball jobs. So like rather than spending my time getting better, perfecting my craft, that extra time was spent in trying to figure out how to run 3 separate businesses at once. Although they are all encompassed by the leather umbrella, if you will, they are all substantially different businesses. So yeah, that is why I closed my shop down. And it's funny too, because I made the decision to close my shop down about 2 weeks before I actually did. The way I saw it was like, boom, I'm definitely going to close this down. So why don't we get it going as fast as possible and see if we can avoid paying another month's rent. Like, let's try and get out of here as quick as possible and stop paying for this place if I know this isn't going to be something I want to keep doing long term. So like in that in the matter of those 2 weeks, as well as like the week I've now been at my new place, like I've been able to spend the extra 20 minutes on a project, or the extra hour doing drawing, instead of having to force it out the door. And like not only one have I regained the spark for what I do, but like I'm already back to improving my work. I've gotten a huge rush of custom orders just because, I don't know, my work has heart and soul, and you can tell there's an artist's touch to it, rather than a guy who is just trying to crank work out as fast as possible to like keep the wheel going. But yeah, like it's definitely not that I couldn't pay for it. Like I was in the cheapest rent situation possible for Norco. It wasn't even that expensive, but it's like I opened this shop up in the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic. So like I opened up in the beginning of Corona, I muscled the whole way through Corona, and now that Corona's over, like there is just an influx of people, and like all like events are happening again. So my custom list is going up. There is weddings happening. So there's like the whole wedding branch, like wedding gift branch of my business has just skyrocketed. Like there's weddings, people are gathering for birthdays. There's just this crazy influx of rodeos, birthdays, freaking it's the whole world opening up. So people have a reason to be buying custom stuff. So all my custom stuff is like rushing in, as well as all the other events that people are having, the ice skating games, the baseball games, there's the like, had a dude who does mobile car detailing, and he was asking if I could fix his pouch, and it's like, I can, but I can't do it for you. You know, like, I physically can, but I can't do it and give you my time. I opened up in the beginning of the Rona, and basically now with everybody like influxing back in, it's like there's just too much work for me to do. So basically it's the ultimate version of me being a little more selective with what I want to do. And another thing to keep in mind, you guys, is like, I'm here in the heart of Southern California. Like, I am literally in Norco, California, one of the most expensive places to live and operate in Southern California. The housing rent is high, business rent is high. Like I've been doing research on this stuff out of state. Like, my shop rent alone, the what I was paying on the shop rent alone, like, I see some of my competitors and these other dudes who do custom work out in the middle of the country. Like, my shop alone is what people are paying off like 3-bedroom house mortgages on. So I'm paying that, plus I'm paying my living expenses, plus I'm getting hit with all the other inflated prices that I'm already dealing with. So it's like, although the money has a little bit to do with it, it's not so much that I'm throwing in the towel because I can't afford to have the shop. It's just not worth it anymore. I, for the longest time, even considered keeping the shop space, but like taking my sign down, so I would just have the shop space as a workshop and just being closed to the public. And then that is when I went like, okay, well, that is a waste of money, because if I'm not even gonna allow, if I don't need to uphold this storefront because I don't even want people coming in, then that would be a waste of money. A regular business needs a store, because a regular business owner, their job is to stock a store full of stuff and get people to come in to buy the stuff. Like, whereas me, and having a custom business, a craftsman business, an artistry business, you have to get the customers, you have to have all the skills to make sure you're competent, and then you still have to do all the back end shit and deal with all the customers. It's a different business than just having a store. What I had was not a store, it was a workshop that was open to the public where people could come in. And basically shutting the shop down, all it really is shutting off that direct line of contact with me. The heart and soul of my business always has been and always will be good old-fashioned word of mouth, whether that be through Instagram, through Facebook. The real way I make my money is somebody finds me on Facebook or Instagram, and I do an incredible job. I provide a kick-ass product for a kick-ass price that is above and beyond most people's expectations. So when they get their product, they go, hey 9 friends and family who are all into the country western world, check out this really cool shit that I got from this guy. And then they're ordering. And that's how my business has grown. And that's how my business honestly thrives and exists in the first place. It's taking one person and doing such a good job for them that they have to tell their friends, and that's how the just webs grow. I don't know. I'm starting to get worked up because like I love being able to help service my local community, but the sense of entitlement that people have just being able to come in off the street and stop your work, like I'll be elbow deep in a project and I gotta just stop, and people, you know, it sucks. It is what it is, and this is just basically a nice filtering process for me to focus not only on the future of my career, but the bread and butter of my business, all my past customers. I just get to focus on what actually makes my business my business. You know, I'm cutting out all the dead weight. But I think at this point I'm starting to maybe go in circles. I definitely know I lost a lot of you guys, so I just wanted to put this all out there. you know, because it sucks. I wanted my voice to be heard. My brother had a shop too, and you know, he closed it down because he had just too many visitors come in. People want to stop and talk to you for 15, 20 minutes, freaking an hour at a time, and it's like, you know, I only have 8 hours to work because I have another 3 hours of customer interaction that I have to deal with. So you coming in and taking away 20 minutes of my time, and then you have 3 or 4 people do that, like you don't understand. Like, I have to work an 8-hour day, and then I'm also spending 2 to 3 to 4 hours a day on the phone to even be able to do the 8 hours of work. And then you want to be disgruntled and waste my time. Like, it's unfortunate because I know, especially the people watching this video, you're going to be much more understanding, but you know, it is what it is. I'm very excited. Like I said, I'm already doing some of the best work I've ever done because I get to spend a little bit extra time. I can feel a giant influx of new orders coming in alone just off of the custom work because I've been able to push myself. I'm at a huge peace of mind with my belongings not being in some random place. Like, there's just so many benefits that quite frankly I'm just like really excited to move on to the next chapter of my life. As sad as it is, it's way more sweet than it is bitter. So I'm gonna just cut it off there. I did enough rambling. I don't know how long this video is, but thank you guys for watching. I hope I answered some of your guys' questions. I know I've gotten people DMing me about it and trying to find out what happened and this and that. Is everything okay? So everything is 1000% fine. The only sadness I have for not having a shop anymore, 100%, is the fact that I worked for so long wanting a shop, and then now that I've worked towards the goal and I've obtained it, now I no longer want it. So there's like a little bit of emptiness, but to be honest, it's already getting filled up with bringing my stuff back home and getting to focus on what I love and why I like having the job that I have, you know, working 11-hour days, 7 days a week. Like, you gotta love what you do, and quite frankly, having that shop was not something that I enjoyed doing at all whatsoever. There's that, and then also it was cool as hell in there. You could check out, I got videos up, you could see all the shit I had hanging on my walls. It was really cool. It was like the sickest leather shop space I've ever seen. So other than that, like, I'm full steam ahead, planning on getting out of Southern California, bringing my shop home, and just focusing on me and my career, quite frankly. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you. Without people like you caring and keeping up with me and all that kind of stuff, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. I would literally not have a career or a job. Like my whole life depends on people paying attention to what I do for work, and people caring about my work, and people sharing my work. And without you people, I wouldn't be here. So thank you guys very much. Like, comment, subscribe, check out my other videos on my YouTubes. But for now, I think I'm gonna just chill. Less stress, a lot less stress. I'm gonna chill out for the rest of the day. So thank you guys, peace out. It's been your leather buddy, Brian Sosak, Man in Black Leather Studio. You know what it is.